Atlas in the hot seat tonight.
And Atlas.
Goes by the name of Atlas the Bookkeeper. How you feeling, my friend?
As a result of my newfound success and people wanting to watch my content and be involved with me, and, you know, first of all, of course, immediately what happens, and I'm not joking, I'm no less than 5 different of my detractors this week contacted me to say they want to be on the Level 1 podcast. I'd like you to think about this. So because I'm finding my footing again in the realm of relevancy, because people like me and want to see my content, my detractors think this is a launching point for them to get newfound popularity and views. They want me to have them on my show. No, you are not coming on the Level 1 podcast. You don't deserve to. You understand? You have tried to destroy me and my family and my business for 10 years. You have insane actions that you do against me. I'm not giving you a new way to now do that on my content. You're out of your fucking minds. Not a single one of you will I waste time on talking to on the show. There are way more interesting people on this planet than my detractors that I would love to talk to before my detractors, okay? For example, if I'm walking down the street and I see a random person off the street, I would rather pull them into this room and interview them live than talk to my detractors. There's no point. It's like, you know, I might talk to a frog. The frog might actually ribbit and give me more intelligence. Okay? So no, the detractors, all out of their minds, trying to get on this show. By the way, there'll be a follow-up to the story about the detractor that wants to sue me today. And it's absolutely hilarious because you're going to actually see the real intentions behind this incredible fake lawsuit in a second. We'll talk about that later. Anyway, excuse me. So, I have thrown out a ton of feelers to a bunch of different people. Okay? People from all over the place. People who I've had association with over the years, people who I've never had association with. I've just tossed out a whole bunch of feelers. I've gotten some initial feedback. I've gotten some initial responses, but not a lot of like, oh my God, this is amazing. I have 27 guests lined up or anything like that. So I just want to forewarn you guys, even though I am trying, it doesn't mean that people are immediately going to have the same exact change of feeling towards me like you guys have. A lot of people aren't even aware that people like me again. You know, they'd have to look and research for themselves to figure this out. So, FYI, I am trying. I'll let you know when I have more information on that. But as of now, nothing definitive yet, except for one. All right. One person directly responded, and I'd like to tell you now a summary of our conversation because I'm kind of confused. And before I even start on the show, I just want to make sure that, yeah. So here's the deal, okay? I reached out to Stuttering Craig, who I haven't talked to in over a year, basically, directly. You know, I've talked about him on my show, but I've never actually, you know, talked directly to him in a very long time. But I still have his email address and everything from the many times that he tried to contact me last year to have him on my, have me on his content so that basically he could milk my detractors more for money. But I refused and I ignored him all year. Okay. So I wrote to him and I said, probably in a pretty tough way, that I wanted to have him on the show so we could clear the air. All right. And he did initially respond and he said, all right. So basically, you know, he would be interested in doing it, but you know, he wanted, you know, details and stuff and stuff like that. And so I went back to him and I was basically like, listen, if you saw the Keemstar interview, I think you have the gist of what it would be, but it's not going to be anything, you know. Basically what I wanted to do is I wanted to build suspense with the guy. Okay. I wanted him to not exactly know what it was going to be, but at the same time, you know, I'm not going to surprise this guy. I'm not going to jump on with surprise attack questions and surprise guests and freak him out like he did to me in the interview with me. I had no intention of doing that. Right. So I basically said something like, well, you know, I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised, very surprised by how it goes. Okay. Something like that. So that was like a day or two ago. So yesterday on my day off, he emailed me again in the morning and he's basically like, you're being way too vague. And I'm not comfortable with that because you're being too vague of what this appearance would be on your show. So he wants more information on what it's going to be and everything, right? So basically I write him back. And by the way, now I've pitched a time to him. I said, you know, it would be that you appear on the show at like 11:30 a.m. Like I do my warm up around 11. You'll come on 11:30. You stay for about an hour, maybe an hour and a half, depending on how the conversation goes. You know, and basically I said it'll be similar to the Keemstar appearance or whatever. I have no desire to get into a fight with you or anything, but what I want to do is I want to go over the history of how this thing happened last year. How did you decide to reach out to me to be a guest on your show? But how did it change from being a guest appearance on your regular show to a full-blown 5-hour expose interview like you did with me? What was the conversation around doing that interview, including what was supposed to happen the next day, what was supposed to happen with me actually showing up as a real guest, basically all that stuff that I've talked about publicly in the last year, and I doubt he ever did. Or if he did, I'd be shocked if he actually told the truth, because the truth is pretty bad. You know, they really did screw me with the way that they behaved, okay? So basically that's what I want to do. I said by the end of it, I want to just hash all this out so we can get it all out there and get to a resolution, because I'm tired of having this lingering feud, basically, right? So I basically told him all that, and basically we went back and forth a few more times, but basically he said if he was going to come on, it would be Thursday, all right? And what he would do is he would do his show, then he would jump on my show, and then he has personal stuff to do after. And I was like, that's all fine. Like, I have no problem with that. Sounds good to me, you know? But we hadn't locked it in yet, because basically he came back and he goes, well, am I going to have opportunity to ask you questions too? Like when Keemstar was on your show, you said, hey, do you have any questions for me? And he didn't really have any, but, are you going to ask me if I can ask you questions too? And I went back to him, and this is officially the last time that I really spoke with him. I said, Craig, you had 5 hours to ask me whatever questions you wanted a year and a half ago, and you very well did. Your appearance on my show is not meant to be the DSP interview part 2 for you. You had your chance. Then all this crap happened after. The appearance is to hash out what happened so we don't have to be at each other's throats anymore. I'm not going to have you interviewing me again. This already, and I even told him, I said, this week, my documentary from June the King is coming out on Monday. I will literally be doing a react to this over and over, like every night. So all questions about me will be addressed and answered when I react to my own documentary. We don't need to have you asking the questions, okay? So if you're okay with you appearing and us hashing it out, which is the purpose, because this is different than Keemstar, we didn't really have like a particular bad thing to talk about, right? We had a few things to discuss and stuff like that. In this case, we literally have a 100% honed in bad thing that happened to me to talk about that we need to hash out. I want to hear from his perspective what he feels about it, because maybe in his mind, he legitimately 100% is justified with the way that he handled the situation. I don't feel that way. And I want to explain that to the guy man to man, rather than just hearing him yell on my own streams and him clapping back on his. And it doesn't make sense if you're not having a true back and forth, correct? So that's what I want to have, all right? So by the way, so I sent him that email yesterday around 1:30 p.m. and he had also asked for my Discord. I sent him my Discord. So I said, here's my Discord. You can send me a friend request, so that way we could talk via Discord rather than email, if, that makes more sense. And then here's how it is. And I even said, if you're not okay with that, if you're not comfortable with that, coming on the show and talking about what happened last year and that being the focal point, then we don't have to do it. But I would like a yes or no answer. So that was 1:30 p.m. yesterday. All right. I went about my day having my day off. No response. So it was like 9:30 last night, and I'm getting ready to, relax with my wife and then go to bed. And I sent him another email and I said, well, Craig, I sent you my Discord. You haven't added me yet. I don't have yours. Okay. I can't add you. I would like to know if it's a yes or no by the time that I'm broadcasting tomorrow so I can tell my audience. In fact, look at this. I even went out of my way and I had someone make something awesome to promote it. I was going to put up the placeholder stream for Thursday so that we can even have people get ready for it, click their notification icons and stuff. Like, we're good to go. All right. He hasn't responded. It's now been nearly 24 hours and I haven't got a response from the guy. Now, the weird part about this is apparently yesterday he went on his Twitter account in his afternoon and he tweeted that he's appearing on my show this Thursday. Yet he hasn't responded since 1:30 p.m. yesterday to me to actually lock it in and say he's okay with the appearance, being that it's not going to be the DSP interrogation interview part 2, which it sounds like what he wants it to be, and it will not be. Okay? So, guys, I don't know what to tell you. This might be happening. This might not be. But I'm going to tell you right now, if I don't get a definitive answer within the next 24 hours, I'm just canceling the whole fucking thing. Because I'm not going to waste my time getting jerked around by someone because it sounds to me like he had an agenda. Like his whole idea was to get another interaction with me live, so now he can grill me again with more stupid fucking questions about shit nobody fucking cares about to make him look good again, and then maybe he's good. He looks good again in the eyes of the detractors. Something I don't know. But the point of the whole appearance is to hash out the bad blood we have because of last year. So why would he not be okay with that, right? I don't get it. So I don't know. I'm waiting. I sent him my Discord. He hasn't sent me a friend request. Okay? I'm waiting for the response. It's been almost 24 hours. I got nothing. Nothing. All right? So that's it. I'm going to officially say this. Craig has another 24 hours. So by noon tomorrow, if I don't get a definitive, yes, I'm okay with the criteria for the show. And yes, I will appear. The appearance is off, and I'm not going to waste my time on this guy anymore. All right? Sarah, if he wanted to bring, what's his name? I don't remember his name, Adam Krigler or whatever, he could, but up to my knowledge, he just had a kid. Yeah. I think he just had a child, so I think he's pretty busy. I don't think he really cares about Darkside Phil if he just had a child. So I'm not going to fault him for that. I'm sorry. I mean, let's be reasonable here. This is a dumb internet feud. You know what I'm saying? This is not anything like in the realm of relevancy to like, oh, I had a child. I think that's a little more important. I'm going to give him a pass on that one and not really care. All right. And by the way, for those who don't know, Craig is the person who literally runs side scrollers, owns side scrollers, does all that shit. Everyone else is kind of like a guest or a co-host that helps him, but he's the definitive driving force of the show. He's the one who directed that show the way he did. So he's the one who I have issue with. Okay. It was funny actually because he had sent me an email back in February, and the email said, we would like to invite you on our 1-year anniversary show. I've heard that you have bad blood with us, particularly Adam. And I was like, the fuck is he talking about? When did I ever say that I have like particularly bad blood with Adam Krigler? Adam Krigler, I don't know him from a hole in the wall. Why would I have issue with him? You're the one who had me come on the show, and you're the one who derided me for weeks afterward, accepting money from my detractors. Like, what are you talking about? I'm just confused. These people literally make up these narratives out of nowhere and pull them out of their butts at whim. I don't even know what he's speaking of. Okay. So anyway, this week in a nutshell, Black Ops beta today.